G'day ice cream lovers, my name's Steve Christensen, the ice cream bloke, self-appointed headmaster of Scoop School. Look, we've got so many things to look at around the lab here. I apologise it's another whiteboard video, but honestly, this is where the rubber meets the road. A lot of the stuff that happens on this whiteboard here is valuable information. It may not be as dynamic to look at. You're probably thinking, well, why can't we look at the cow or the menu board? Look, just stay with me on this video, it's good information. Do want to thank our episode, I've done it again, I've dropped my duster. I do want to thank our episode sponsor, which is Slice's Concession. Hey, I've said it before. Chino, Evan, I don't know who's the nicer guy. You're going to have to talk to them both and figure it out. But they do want to help you with your used equipment needs. Look, if you want to get in the business, you want to start off, you're testing your concept, it's a good way to be able to get into the business and buy a piece of equipment that has been used but has been checked and guaranteed. Talk to them about different warranties, but a great source of used equipment and new equipment too as well. Slicesconcession.com. Link is down below here. We very much thank you for your episode sponsorship. Now, this is the video where we start talking a little bit about the difference between air-cooled equipment and water-cooled equipment. And I can say over the years, we've trained, I'm not kidding here, tens of thousands of people about getting into the ice cream and frozen dessert business. When it comes down to equipment, people ask, oh gee, forgot to turn the phone off. People ask all the time, look, I'm going to put it on pause here. I'm going to put it on mute. Sorry, everybody. Look, this is what happens sometimes, you know. You're in business, you're trying to do the right thing, things happen. Look, a lot of people ask about equipment and more importantly, what's better, air-cooled or water-cooled? There's a few things to take into an account here when you're talking about the pros and cons of each. So let's talk first of all about water-cooled. We'll do it in green because that's the color of water, or blue the color of water. I don't know what the color of water is. It's really transparent. But I can't write in transparent on the board, no one will see what's going on. So water-cooled equipment, pros and cons. Look, a water-cooled machine, basically here's your ice cream machine, let's call it a batch freezer. And in order for this machine to run, you need a water line in and a water line out to a drain, right? Now, the water isn't going consistently or continually. The water turns on or basically starts drawing water through the water source when the compressor's running. So primarily, every time you're freezing product down, the compressor's running, the freezing cylinder or the barrel's getting colder, it's using water. And that water basically goes into the machine, goes through the condensing unit, compressor, and then comes back out into the drain. Now, pros and cons. From the pro standpoint, they can be a little bit quieter than an air-cooled machine. We'll talk about air-cooled in a minute. As well as some of the machines, the larger machines, actually they don't even make them in an air-cooled machine. So if you're looking at a 30 to 40 quart batch freeze that has a pretty big compressor in it, it may only run on water cool because pumping that much warm air into the store may not work. So you might, if you're after a really industrial large machine, it may only come in water cooled. Downside, these things are very thirsty. Speaking of thirsty, been talking here all day. That was really just a prop, I didn't really need a drink, I just wanted to throw that in there. These guys can use up to 1 gallon or to 2 gallons per minute of running. So you've got a machine there that's running, a production machine that's running. Basically, you're paying for the water that's coming into that unit all day, and you're also, in most cases, paying for the water that's going down the drain. Now, you can get a recirculating unit that basically will bring that water back up, recycle through the unit and come back down to the machine. They can cost anywhere between $8,000 to $20,000. I think to get the most out of it, you really do need to have multiple units hooked up to that process so that you're getting much more value out of it. So that's our water-cool equation. Can be a little bit quieter. Doesn't move around as much because you've got a water line in and a water line out. You will need a drain close by the machine or somewhere to drain the unit to, and can be very thirsty. Let's talk about air-cooled. Now, air-cooled machines come in 2 configurations, right? They come in self-contained or they come in remote. So a self-contained machine, let's say this is a soft serve machine, our 3 spigots here. A self-contained unit is where everything is in the box. The compressor, the condenser is in this box. It sits on a counter, it sits in the store over here, and it draws in the ambient air temperature here. Let's say that's a 72 degree Fahrenheit ambient air temperature, processes it through the machine, and then kicks it out the other side. Now, after it's processed, this is warm air. I don't know exactly what the temperature of the air is, but it's judged in a term called a BTU, or a British Thermal Unit, BTUs. Often on the specs of these machines, you'll see the output of it will be a certain amount of BTUs, 20,000 BTUs, 30,000 BTUs. It basically is just measuring the heat that's coming out. So, the upside of a self-contained air-cooled machine is that you can wheel it around. It only has one plug in it. You can unplug it from the wall, wheel it out, plug it in, mop underneath it, plug it back in. A lot of flexibility there to clean around it and so forth. Downside is that it's pumping warm air into the store, and you can have a lot of warm air pumping. I don't think people realize how many compressors in their business are pumping out air. Just while I'm standing here, we have a dipping cabinet here, that's one. I've got an under-counter refrigeration there, that's two. I've got a cooler over here is three. I've got my 3-door freezer, which is four. And another dipping cabinet over there, which is 5. So in about 1,200 square feet here, I've got 5 compressors all running, pumping warm air into there. And you may say, well, I can't really feel it all that much. Well, you don't feel it because your air conditioning unit is working twice as hard to cool this product down. So you may not feel it in the store, you'll feel it in the back pocket. Oi! When you get the power bill. So I try and keep a straight face, but Madeline behind the counter here has a bit of a smile on her face, so it kind of gets me going. So anyway, that's self-contained. Now, some units are actually remotely air-cooled, and you'll find these in the larger frozen custard machines. So on a 3-barrel frozen custard machine, 3-barrel, that's sitting in the store, here is the roof of the store, and this is the condensing unit on top of the roof with a copper line that goes down and hooks to the machine through the ceiling, through the roof. And so when the unit's on and running, the compressor's running like we're talking about here, that condensing unit, the noise is outside of your building and the heat is also outside of the building. Obviously there's an installation cost. You've got to talk to your landlord to see whether you can put something like that on the roof, but you'll find that your air conditioning system is up there anyway and piercing the roof and piercing the ceiling anyway. Look, talk to the manufacturer about it, talk to the good folks at Slicer's Concession about it, but I'll tell you right now that you've got to do this comparison and say, well, what unit am I getting? What options does it come in? What size does it need to be in order for it to be an air-cooled? Am I after more of a production machine that only comes in water-cooled? And then have a look at the previous couple of videos when we talk about single-phase and 3-phase. I think you'll find that there's a lot of decisions to make when it talks to equipment, and that's why you shouldn't buy equipment off the back of a truck or on eBay and not sight unseen from someone that doesn't even know anything about it. You've got to talk to some professionals, talk to the manufacturers, talk to the resellers, distributors. I think you'll get a lot of good information there. So there you go. Thank you very much to our episode sponsor, which is Slicer's Concession. And look, if you want to know anything about the ice cream or frozen dessert business, look, we're here. We're down here waiting for you. Scoopschool.com. Keep on scooping, folks. See you in the next video.